Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to Alan Wake, where last time it seems as though there's something about the story that I didn't really consider, the fact that there has been this narrative fighting against the darkness at the bottom of the lake for much longer than Alan Wake was involved. The fact that lyrics from a song written back in the 1970s can give Alan advice for what to do in his modern era, like the mid 2000 to 2010. I guess let's just say 2011 when the game was released. But the fact that several decades have passed since the writing of that song, almost as prophecy for Alan, for what Alan needs to do, which is find the Lamp Lady, in order to fight back against the Dark Lady. But the Lady of Darkness. So the idea that there has been this kind of force that has slowly been pushing against the darkness for as long as Tom the Diver has been around.
Previously on Alan Wake, under the influence of the dark presence, I wrote a horror story that is coming true. Jagger had been my editor, making
That's his problem. He was driving under the influence of the dark presence.
Some part of me had been aware.
Never drive under the influence of a dark presence. You'll just crash your car. Endanger those around you.
The lake, it does something to the works of art created here. It makes them come true. My mom gave me this old light switch.
The clicker.
Alice is being kept in a dark prison. I need to find Cynthia Weaver to fix this.
It's your fault, and you're gonna pay for it.
And now he's in jail.
Record crowd from the neighboring counties. Naturally, we hope to break the record set by last year's Moose Fest in our neighboring town, Watery. Ladies and gentlemen, some people have asked me, what's the big deal about Deer Fest? And I think that this sums it up. It's about friendship and community. We've got a great party coming up, but let's try to hold it in until...
Although I think Agent Nightingale represents pretty much the last of the non-supernatural elements that Alan actually has to deal with.
Someone will come for it when the time is right. Thomas said so. He wrote it. The key is insurance. It's my job to keep it safe. Safe in the light. Always in the light.
Like, previously, the major non-supernatural element in the game was the
FBI agent had taken them.
I think my tongue just took a crap in my
was the
mouth.
kidnapper.
Ugh.
And now, I guess there's still Barry, but
Jail now?
Barry's your ally. He's not there to stop
Oh, this is
Alan.
not good.
That about sums it up.
Yeah? Oh. Can I
Oh, I am never drinking again.
Well, at the very least, you probably should never drink moonshine you found in an abandoned farm
What, the crazy
from a
lady?
distillery from an evil lake.
Al, but we're stuck here.
Like, you could probably still drink booze again.
I had some reading to do first, Sheriff, and let me tell you, it was an interesting read. Well, I've got you now, Raymond Chandler. It's all here. All the evidence, including conspiracy to murder a federal agent. There's no way you're walking out of here. You hear me in there, Bret Easton Ellis? Huh?
Who's Brett and Easton Ellis?
I want to talk to your superior.
Well, we all want things, Sheriff. I wanted my... Look, that's not possible right now.
Agent Knight.
Like, I understand the other references, but...
Wake, what's wrong?
Lady, are you stupid? It's a trick. It's an obvious trick.
Okay, I've had enough of this crap. Wake, I'm gonna trust you with this.
You're joking.
Agent Nightingale, your opinion would matter more if you were sober and if I actually believed you were here on official business.
Whoa! Get back in the cell, Stephen King.
Okay, finally a modern author.
This is over my dead... Wait a minute.
Oh, that's in the manuscript.
Oh my god!
Light. We need light. It's the only way to fight this thing.
In my office. I've got your things there. Follow me.
I mean, they've probably seen enough physical evidence.
Nightingale tried to make sense of the manuscript. It was disjointed and strange. He didn't understand half of it, but it all rang true. Impossibly true. He took out his hip flask when he reached the page that described how he reached the page that made him take out his hip flask. It wasn't the booze that made his mind reel.
That is an amazing sentence. He took out his hip flask when he reached the page that described how he reached the page that made him take out his hip flask.
Stay cool. I can get the emergency power on.
Nightingale felt the situation veering out of his control, but the gun at least felt steady in his hands. He was ready to fire, resolved that he would let this happen over his dead body. And yet he hesitated. He had seen this moment before, read it in the page. He was transfixed by the déjà vu and the horror that he was a character in a story someone had written. Then the monstrous presence burst in behind him and dragged him into the night.
Yeah, nobody really wants to be a character written in somebody's story. They usually get screwed over, especially if the writers of the story happen to be the writers of Game of Thrones. Then it doesn't matter if you're the good guy, the bad guy, everybody just gets screwed. Oh, does Sarah have one of those Silent Hill flashlights that you can just put in your pocket and still use? I don't think I've, like, every time I go to the store, like, I've never seen, like, those, like, chest pocket.
They can be hurt in the light, only in the light. And I need to find Cynthia Weaver. She can help me stop this.
Light. Check. Cynthia. She lives in the old decommissioned power plant. I can get you there pretty quickly in the rescue chopper. Come on. Let's get back to your friend.
A rescue chopper? I've seen how choppers seem to fare in this game.
We're going to fetch our ride, but I have friends who need to be warned about this, and I can't be in two places at once. I need your help.
Well, okay.
Here's a list of people and phone numbers. I need you to call them and tell them you have a message from me. Night Springs, okay? They'll know what to do.
Night Springs? Like the TV show? Gotcha. Oh, hey, that radio guy.
Wait, have they do the people in this town know about what they're supposed to do?
Hey, is this like a secret society?
Can you do this? You'll be safe here. The backup power's on. These guys need to be alerted, just in case we don't come back.
Night has sprung on Bright Falls.
Thanks, Wheeler. I owe you one.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go, Wake. Through the back.
Okay.
My hangover wants a pizza. You think there's any way I can order one, Al?
Maybe not now. The town is in slight bit of danger at the moment.
Oh, hell. Whatever took Nightingale must have broken the gate controls. We can't reach the gate's control box from here. We need to get to the other side over the rooftop.
I'll go. I'll open the gate for you once I'm across. You stay here in the light and cover me, Sheriff, okay?
Nope. Other way. I guess through this building. I figured it would just be through that yard and then up that ladder, but... There, nope. There we go. Ah, damn it. I don't know. Pieces of ooze of darkness don't quite make for the most interesting of enemies. Now, I suppose I could talk about the more recent news in regards to Alan Wake. Specifically, the fact that the developer of the game recently got control of their franchise again. And there's already starting to get talk about what's going to happen. Is there going to be a sequel? Is there going to be a remaster? There's also even talk in regards to... Oh, hello. In regards to a potential TV show. Apparently there has always been a TV show in the works. Although I suppose that shouldn't be too big of a surprise. considering the fact that this game is kind of set up like a TV show. It's dividing itself into episodes with previously ons. And then, of course, there's Quantum Break, which itself was set up like a TV show with, even with live action footage. Doing that. That worked.
Hey, Sheriff! Your password. Night Springs? What's that all about?
It's a stupid joke we have. That Bright Falls is the original inspiration for the TV show. This town can get weird at times. Never this weird, though. We need to bypass the damage control box.
What am I, an electrician? Hold on!
You're also a fighter of the darkness and a writer.
Damn it, that's Sparks.
Our first stop is the town hall. The keys to the chopper are
Oh, so we don't even have the keys. Why are the keys to the chopper that belongs to the police station kept in an entirely different building? Oh, hello. Do I really need to destroy this truck? Okay, so this is, this kind of feels like that situation when you're with, the kidnapper, and the kidnapper wouldn't let you actually use a gun. And you're... Ah, damn. Except the gun that the sheriff has is actually pretty decent. So it kind of makes up for any possible lack of aim, which Sarah clearly doesn't have a problem with, as she seems to be much more expert marksman than the kidnapper was. Okay, hello. So the deer truck is now possessed. Hopefully it's not coming back. Okay, it's coming back. Let's drop that. Okay, it's not coming back. Alright, I was wondering for a second if I put too much faith in Sarah, but clearly I put just enough. But yeah, so there's apparently still a TV show in the works. It's not like it's been completely shut down. Hello, how are you? She probably has infinite ammo too, so there's nothing wrong with letting her do all of the heavy lifting. And by that I mean shooting with a gun. So it'll be interesting to see like what form that the TV show would take. Follow? Okay. It's convenient that somebody knows I'm expected to follow somebody. Get him. Nope. Start getting them. Thank you.
And I thought New Yorkers were rude.
Yeah, take that dig, New Yorkers. But it'll also kind of be interesting to see. Nope. Let's toss down a flare. We are a bit on the surrounded side. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of sequel would come out of it, considering that the original is as old as it is. And since like Remedy has already had a few projects since then. They've had Quantum Break, which involved the usage of live action footage, a much higher amount of live action footage, and then Control is coming out, which also offers different mechanics to its gameplay. If I'm following you, shouldn't you be moving?
Over here! There's light! I have a key. Watch my back, Wade.
Are we gonna have? Am I gonna have to stand here and defend you from hordes of?
It's an ambush.
It's only an ambush if they knew you were gonna be here. Like, if they just showed up because they saw you there. Damn it. Damn it again. There we go. And flare. Alright, and now Sarah's gonna take care of this. There we go. Sarah is not gonna take care of this. Alright, so Chainsaw Guy is almost dealt with. Having two people is always very convenient. Especially when both people have a shotgun. And then I immediately switch to my revolver.
Let's go, Wake.
Now, are there any thermoses in here? Also known as thermosi in plural. Sometimes it's hard to tell, like sometimes, like, let's say there's a video game that requires you to collect a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, someone's messed with the fuse box here, but you should be able to jury rig it while I find the keys.
I already got electrocuted once today. How about I look for the keys and you get burned for a change?
Fine. They should be in the clerk's office on the other side of the building, near the main entrance.
Plus, this gives me an excuse to look for manuscript pages. And remember what I'm talking about in just a second.
Jagger's face was furious. The story in the manuscript had been making it stronger all the time, but now the light had set the writer free and hurt it, weakened it. It was only a matter of days before the dark presence would be strong again. But meanwhile, it would be difficult to recapture the writer.
Okay, here's a question. Is Thomas Zane the light, or is the light wearing Thomas Zane's face? I mean, it doesn't really matter that much in regards to the results, but it changes the interpretation of Thomas Zane's character.
The message was from Barry. He was getting worried at the station. He wanted us to hurry.
But anyway, like games that require you to collect stuff on this side, and have a lot of things for you to collect. Oh, hello. This is definitely a close encounter space. But luckily it was not very difficult. And let's say there's in that game where you're collecting a whole bunch of stuff, but it's not the main objective. It's usually a secondary objective. Like Assassin's Creed with the feathers. Oh, hello. And let's say you've been collecting it throughout the entire game, and it's something that's not shown on any map. That's the important thing about the collectible, is the collectible cannot appear by itself on a map.
Okay,
And you're like,
I got the keys.
maybe I'll look this up online, get some assistance. Except if you look it up online.
Why isn't he inside?
Barry? Where's Barry?
Oh, God.
Barry, look out! Barry, move!
There is literally a truck out to kill you. Did he get killed by those trucks?
Barry!
He made it inside, Wake. He's okay.
Oh, okay. He's not dead.
The storefront's blocked. Come on, Wake. Let's go around. We can meet him in the back.
Okay. because we needed a little bit of a distraction, make this level a little bit longer. It's not recorded when Bright Falls was first formed as a nameless trading post, but it became a town when the Bright Falls Mining Company started to operate nearby in 1878. It was then that Hubert Biltmore, the kind of guy who likes to build more, a fur trapper, and Amos Gunderson, the man who likes to shoot off his guns, a pioneer from Tacoma, decided to build a post office, saloon, and hotel, all operating from the same building. I don't know if I'd necessarily want all of those businesses, and, like, you can send your mail, get drunk, and have a good night's... I guess there are worse combinations. It was through the efforts of these two men that Bright Falls became the permanent and thriving town it is today. So... No, hello. Okay, that was terrible. And I'm probably being chased by somebody. Damn it. Thank you, Sarah, for pulling out all the stops while I pulled out nothing. But luckily there is a heal up ahead. I probably should just use my shotgun anyway.
We can make it through the bookstore. Wheeler should be waiting for us in the backyard.
Down or I'll call the sheriff.
Oh, hi, Doc. I've got it. Don't worry about it.
Sarah, about time somebody showed up. All the shooting in the air is idiotic. One of these days they'll kill somebody. And over Deerfest.
I know. Go back to bed.
It's just an ordinary day at Deerfest, sir. Absolutely nothing
The
wrong.
sooner I get out of here, the sooner you can all get back to life as usual.
I hope you're right. Come on, let me get this door open.
Wait, you got the keys to the bookstore?
Perks of being the sheriff. A girl needs to get around.
Does she have the keys for all the businesses? I mean, I'm not saying that's impossible. They're just a...
Presents here, Wake. I heard they're selling a lot of your Alex Casey books.
Alex Casey books by Alan Wake, modern master of crime fiction. Alex Casey, What I Can't Forget. Return to Sender, The Things That I Want, The Fall of Casey, and The Sudden Stop. All in stock. $20 a book. $100 for the full set. 2, 3... Ah, so you get one book for free. Mr. Wake is in town. See if you can get them autographed. I'm gonna go see what's upstairs, though, because there's probably something. There probably is something. There is nothing. I wonder if I went upstairs in my previous game and there was a thermos there, and now that the thermos is gone, there is nothing.
Cynthia Weaver worked hard, following her obsessive rituals, sometimes fighting them, always giving in to them in the end. She haunted the halls of Bright Falls' abandoned power plant. She marked her caches with light-sensitive paint that could only be seen by eyes...
Ah, so Cynthia Weaver has been the one who's been painting
She was
throughout the town.
with the war she knew would come. The war between the forces of light and darkness.
Audiobooks weekly rental. Buy 3, pay for 2.
I don't see Barry.
That's...
Wake, maybe that's him. That's the way to the chopper.
Alright, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If that wasn't the way to the chopper, sorry Barry, you're screwed. So we got a church, and we got a... Oh, it's not a carnival, it's just Deerfest. Because it kind of looks like there are giant carnival tents just set outside the church.
I'm gonna get Pastor Howard a piece of my mind about this lock. Ugh, I told him to get it fixed.
Physical labor is for suckers. Oh, there's an item box there. I probably should get it while I'm heading off to fight these guys. Alright.
Omega-3 fatty acids are good for your heart.
Thank you, darkness. Dark presence. Okay, there are two people there. Damn it. Claire.
Right there. Can't wait. This one's slippery.
Clearly. Should I switch to the hunting rifle? It's been a while since I've used the hunting rifle. So I will switch to... Oh, hello. Nope. Thank you, game, for spawning guys right next to me, and then giving me no capacity to dodge them. Let us try that again. I mean, I'm not being quite as... I think I did better earlier in the game than I did now. But still.
I'm gonna give Pastor Howard a piece of my mind about this lock. Ugh, I told him to get it fixed.
Let's take a break.
Alright, let's try to take these guys out. Smash, smash. Okay. So this first group is done.
Omega-3 fatty acids are good for your heart.
Why, thank you for your health concerns, but also getting bullets shot at me are bad for my heart. Oh, there's a manuscript page in there. Let us try to grab this real quick, like. Alright, hello. Okay, I'm just getting surrounded by goons.
Barry got back to his feet inside the Bright Falls General Store and dusted himself off. Right next to the cans of baked beans was a locked case filled with flare guns, and yet here was a conveniently placed barrel of crowbars. Barry's smile widened as he realized that this was the classic movie scene where the hero had to gear up and arm himself to the teeth. Barry threw himself into the role.
Gary is the hero in this story? Or Barry is the hero in this story? Why am I now... where did those guys come from? There was one guy, and then there were two guys. Let us try that again. Okay. I think that might have got him this time. Also, I completely forgot that I have flashbangs now. I probably should remember that I have flashbangs.
Okay, it's open. Let's go, Wake.
And what brings us to the church?
We keep them lit all night long on the night before Deerfest.
Why?
Well, it's tradition.
Keeping the lights on all night before Deerfest, which happens to be this day, makes me question whether it was written to become a tradition early on.
Needed the writer to finish the story. Again and again, the story let it get frustratingly close to the writer without letting it capture him. It was bound by the events depicted in the manuscript, but it could pursue the writer indirectly. put others on the task, and stop those who would help him. It took over everything in its path, made them its puppets, and sent them after Alan Wake.
Okay, so that leads to the question of whether the darkness taking over the diner girl, whether that was part of the story, or whether that was something else. But Alan Wake does write it into the story, so does that mean that because that is in the manuscript? Ah, a thermos. I'll fight you first. I'll fight you, but first I gotta collect this thermos. Also, I completely forgot that I had switched to the flashbang. I was expecting an immediate result with the flare, and then when nothing happened, I'm like, oh yeah, flashbang. But luckily, that might actually have been a better result anyway. Yes.
Guess that one saw the light, huh?
Ah, Barry got him with his tremendous amount of his Christmas lightness and flare guns.
Protection, man, like garlic against vampires.
Vampires.
The helicopter's just across the parking lot and up the hill. Come on.
To be fair, though, Barry is geared up a lot better than these two. He's got a headlamp, so he could flash a light on the person that he's facing. He could turn his regular flashlight towards somebody else, flash them both at the same time. Truly, Barry is an expert at flashing people with flashlights. And he's got the Christmas lights going, so there's like ambient flashlight damage.
Bright Falls General Store is now my favorite place in the entire world. See this headlamp? It's like a superpower. I can just look at one of those things and they die. It's my flaming eye of Mordor.
I'm impressed that he's well read enough.
Last one.
Bastard. Alice had screamed until she had no voice left to scream.
Oh.
The darkness was alive. It was cold and wet and malevolent and without end. She was a prisoner, trapped in the dark place. The terror would have burned her mind out, but one thing made her hang on. She could sense Alan in the dark. She could hear him. She could see the words he was writing as flickering shadows. He sensed her too. He was trying to work his way to her.
So yeah, I don't think I finished that topic, and that being, okay, so what happens with a sequel? Like, with the way this game ends, plus there's the DLC sections.
When someone throws a damn school bus at your head and you're about to take a helicopter ride with someone who may or may not have a pilot's license, you're cleared for departure to Night Springs. No offense, Sheriff.
Oh, hello. And let's throw one of those. Like, Alan Wake is still kind of... Like, the game does end... The main game does end in a bit of a cliffhanger. And the DLC sections don't quite... don't quite set that up, or should I say, they don't quite wrap that that cliffhanger up. They don't provide resolution, or at the very least, I don't remember them providing resolution. Like, I think I've played this game once or twice before, and I've definitely only played the okay, for some reason. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting out that quickly.
You will never get her back.
So let's grab some flashbangs. Oh, let's throw one of these flashbangs. I had the flare out, okay. And I'm dead. Let's try that again. Okay. I was not expecting to be surrounded from all directions. So quickly, let's turn on this light. Let's turn on that light. And flare. I believe I dropped the flare. I forget that you have to pretty much like, damn it. Reload everything individually. Thank you. Will I actually survive this assault? Probably not. Let's just throw a flare anyway. Okay. Damn it. That is very rude of you guys for trying to throw axes at me. Oh, okay. There are explosives. I don't know, is it more dangerous to stay or is it more dangerous to go? Because on one hand, if, like, I would imagine flying through the air might be trickier because like the darkness is just throwing giant girders of steel at him. But at the same time, like, it's still throwing giant girders of steel that could potentially hit the helicopter that's right there. Oh, hello. Finally a decent dodge. Anybody else? Okay. You don't have to tell me twice. And then Barry saves the day by shooting a flare. Nope, he does nothing.
You're taking a big chance on a local crazy lady, Al. I hope you're right about her, or we can kiss this town goodbye.
Okay. And now we have to get through the power plant, I believe? Right after we go through these scenic imagery of Bright Falls.
Right, the city's a war zone. King Kong, mutant alligators, and Alex Casey shoots the place up every weekend. Look, I never even carried a gun until a couple of days ago.
Well, my dad used to be a cop there. Tells some pretty wild stories.
Stuff like this?
No, just normal bad stuff. Kinda like your books, Wake. I used to tease Dad that he was just like Alex Casey.
You've read me.
Oh, sure. You're a pretty good writer. A little heavy on the metaphors, maybe.
Nobody's ever said that before.
His metaphors are so thick.
We're coming up on the power plant. See the lit building over there?
Like chunky peanut butter.
Dam further up the river. I can't land here. I'll
Why does the audio sound feel kind of odd when they're speaking? Also, it doesn't seem that you guys can land here anyway because of the birds. Ooh, and now a well-placed flashlight destroys them? Okay, so they might or might not still be alive. And what happened to my flashlight? What happened to my guns? See, it makes sense when because of the transitions between episodes. But now I've lost my flashlight, which I was carrying before, which I carried onto the helicopter. And I've also lost my guns, which I presumably had carried onto the helicopter. Presumably I had lost this on my fall from said helicopter, which the darkness wears her face. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to need some sort of weapon in order to release that gate.
I it's something about the chain for the door to open.
Why, thank you, Mr. Wake, for providing me the advice that I learned myself. There we go. Oh, nope. There we don't. There, ha ha ha. Nope. Nope. Did I dodge directly towards him? Now I'm stuck. And I have no flares because I dropped those in the helicopter, swinging about. Oh. Okay. Still alive. Nope. That was a nice attempt to get me, but this time it did not work. Like, I understand when games decide that they need to arbitrarily adjust a character's inventory. Like in the beginning of Max Payne 2, you have a little bit of a gunfight throughout a hospital. And then when he takes the elevator down to the first floor, there is an explosion. And it knocks the elevator loose. It falls a bit. And he drops his guns. And the game shows you dropping your guns. It emphasizes that point. Maybe I should focus on getting around these pallets. Who would dare stack all of these pallets like this? There we go. Oh, now let's see if the radio guy is still on.
And here's a new song from a band that they always remind me of our local rock legends, the Old Gods. I couldn't tell you why. I guess it's just...
Oh. Okay, so let's get away from this. I probably should pay attention to which way I'm going. Although... I guess I'm not faring too badly considering I'm walking blindly. Nope, that did not work out so well. I was attempting to get away from the radio and its expected copyright strike. So I will not use the radio. That way I can focus my attention on fighting the bad guys rather than fighting YouTube and its copyright rules. Okay. That was a successful dodge. And this is a very cramped space. There we go. Oh, hello. How are you doing today? No, you will not charge me. And really, back to the idea of, like, he called out, like, the darkness for ambushing them. Like, if the darkness is everywhere, then really, there's no way it could possibly ambush you. It's always there. Okay, I thought that was a good job dodging, but the game did not, clearly. Alright. Hopefully... Oh, yep. More shotgun ammo, which is definitely something I needed as I was running low in that fight. And let's make our way to the transformer yard. And then from there into the power station.
The plant glowed in the night. It was close, but I had to find a way across.
Yeah, it probably would be incredibly dangerous to try to swim. Being in the water is not a good time in this place. And actually, that kind of makes me think of when Alan dives into the water in order to escape the darkness, when the darkness shows up to confront him and the kidnapper. Because when he wakes up in the clinic. Which, in theory, if he jumps in the water, he could be claimed by the darkness again. Okay, so I'm definitely not going that way just yet. But it doesn't seem to, or at the very least, it doesn't collect Max and then bring him to the cabin. And that is a very well-lit room. Ah, okay. Create your own checkpoints. Nope. An almost dodge. Not quite there. Oh, was he being electrocuted at the time? Where are you going? Nope. Except now I'm out of flares. Which itself could be problematic. But I still have one flashbang, so... Oh, and now I'm on the other side of this.
Making her way through the water pipe alone, Cynthia was angry at the writer. Foolish young man, taking unnecessary risks. And the way he broke the rules. Didn't he understand what was at stake? Since the terrible days in the 70s, she hadn't wavered once, as hard as it had been. She was tired of protecting the town all these long years, and now only wanted to rest.
Clearly the answer to that question is, he did not know what the rules are. And if Cynthia Weaver felt it was important to know what the rules are, wouldn't she have made herself a bit more available, known that Alan Wake was a creative type, and that the darkness exploited creative types? Done a little bit more than say, oh, you've got to be aware of the darkness. Okay, my escape from these guys was a little bit too easy. Yep. Take that! Also, I've got to reload. That went really, really well, almost as if I know how to play the game. Can I shoot that? No, I probably have to use that lift in order to get by something. But yeah, Cynthia Weaver just kind of shows up, and she doesn't really have much. She just has a very, very basic warning. Doesn't really look like she's there to be like, oh, hey, you know, this is a town of darkness. You best watch out. I done reckon, you might be in trouble here. Now, who's...
The story I had written in the cabin had come true. Touched by the dark presence, I had written a horror story, but the end was still missing. The story was incomplete, and the last unfinished page of the manuscript still sat in the typewriter in the cabin study. If I could get back there, if I could read the page, then I could write my own ending to this story and save Alice.
That seemed like exaggerated grunts for his effort. Although it also seems as though the big climax of this level, at the very least in regards to fighting bad guys, already happened. Twice, really. I mean, there's the fight in which Alan and Sarah against the darkness, and then there is the fight over by the helicopter. Oh, hello. Nope. I don't know what the camera was doing there, but it was fighting me alongside the bad guy. Oh, flare gun. And now I'll remember that the game swapped that out for me, even though that was not what I wanted. And let us cross this bridge once it eventually turns. It will hopefully not be overloaded with bad guys. Probably will be. I'll probably have to fight this truck. That's something that I would like to know about in regards to a potential sequel, or even a potential sequel is like, what kind of enemies are they going to try to would they have for the sequel?
More birds.
Okay. That's definitely what everybody wanted. Because, like, as the first game goes, you're basically fighting against possessed hunters Now hopefully I will jump on the right side. If I jump on the wrong side, I would have crossed that bridge when I got to it. But, And what's on the television? Is it another episode of Night Springs? I think I know what might be on this episode. It might be the episode where they find the strange thing in the basement.
Are we men dreaming of being butterflies, or butterflies that dream of being men? Such philosophical concerns are by necessity abstract. And yet, some of us can find concrete proof of the nature of our existence in Night Springs. Tonight's episode, an absence of creativity.
Hello, Martha. What did you want to show me?
Oh, Lydia, thank God you're here. Please, it's in the basement. Just, I found it here this morning.
It's like it isn't there, but oh, I can't look straight at it.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
How did you get here?
Well, I'm trying to work.
Did you put this thing here?
In a way. To be more precise, I put everything here but that.
Really? But what is it?
I guess the temptation is to call it whole, but it's really an absence, a profound lack of reality.
In Martha's basement?
Yes, I was doing so well, too. I came up with 2 old ladies and put something really weird in the basement. It was a great start, but I'm completely blocked now. I can't imagine what I was up to.
Well, surely it's just an ordinary basement.
Is it? Why did you call your friend here, then?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, well.
Couldn't you just ignore it?
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. It would probably turn into a plot hole. Might be one already. Could sink the whole enterprise.
Oh, my.
Listen, ladies, not to be rude, but I'm really not at all sure where I'm going with this, and you're just not helping. You should just go back upstairs for a cup of coffee while I try to figure out what I'm up to.
Well, if you think that's best.
Maybe I should just stop here. Or is that too moronic?
Is that too moronic? Indeed. Who can tell? It's a fine line between the stupid and the sublime. Night Springs.
You know, it's a good thing that the Darkness managed to acquire a good writer. Like, imagine if the Darkness got a hold of, like... Oh, excellent. Are they gonna shine their flashlight on things? But, like, imagine if, like, a lesser writer... Like, they got, like, some high school... Nope, that is... These guys are too far away. Okay, they're getting closer now, thank you. I'm surprised that missed. And I believe this is the only chapter where Alan gets support, as he will... Nope, that missed too. And that guy missed. Okay, I have to remember there's a guy behind me. I did not remember that there was a guy behind me. Nope. I did not dodge his attack. Let's try that again. So, where was the checkpoint? It was over here. I guess this is a pretty climactic approach. Nope. I thought that dodge was good enough. The game disagreed. Nope. God damn it. Ah, thank goodness. Okay. Still, holy crap. That's one thing about this game. It definitely keeps you on your toes. That lack of cover system means enemies could always come up from everywhere. Okay, getting inside. Oh yeah, I've got a flare gun. I should probably remember that I have a flare gun with 3 shots. So, I guess if any bad guys show up, they're going to be very unhappy. Nope. Like, I realize that that's meant to be very cinematic. But at the same time, it's something that takes away control of the camera. Which is something I'm not a big fan of.
I recognized the logo on the power plant sign. I'd seen a version of it painted all over the area, signifying hidden caches of supplies.
Safe haven.
Hold it right there.
Miss Weaver, Cynthia, I'm a friend.
Prove it.
You knew Zane, Thomas Zane. You're the Lady of the Light in the song. You can help me.
About time. Young man, I've been waiting a very long time for you. It's in the well-lit room.
Excuse me?
What you need to drive the darkness back. The well-lit room is at the dam. I built the room to keep it safe.
Will it help me find Alice? Will it get me back to the cabin? Fine, let's go. I can get my friends to come back with the helicopter.
We won't go outside. Never at night. That's rule number 1. You've been breaking the rules, young man, and where has that gotten us,
Oh, yeah, he's been going outside at night. A lot of the time. Now...
damaged at the transformer yard. It's draining all the reserve power. Without it, the pipe will go dark. The power to the yard must be cut.
Let me guess. You want me to do it?
Young man, you're the one who likes to break the rules. I can't be outside in the dark. The kill switch is outside.
Okay. So, which way... Though I would imagine, like, living like this, always confronting the darkness, has got to be on the tricky side, because I would imagine she has the lights on at all times. So, you basically have to learn how to be asleep in... Okay. And be asleep in well-lit rooms. There we go. And there he goes.
Weaver had sent me to cut the power to the transformer yard. I was willing to do grunt work for her to get her to help me. I hoped Weaver was dependable. I'd stumbled into this crazy world a little over a week ago. She had been living this insanity for decades.
Rule number 1, never go out at night. It's good to know the rules this far into the
I
game.
could see the kill switch that would cut the power to the transformer yard. Now I had to find a way to reach it.
So I need to move the... Oh, it's one of these puzzles. That was extremely easy. Barely an inconvenience. Can you tell if I've been watching a lot of that, those Screen Rant videos these days? So... Is there a rule number 2? You know, it bothers to tell me rule number 1 in writing. But it doesn't seem like there's a rule number 2. And basically I'll cut the power and the other side. Yeah. That is an excellent question. Jump. Yeah, no. Ah, there we go. Because of the way the camera is placed, the idea of jumping straight is sometimes a little bit tricky. So thank goodness Alan Wake doesn't try to pretend to be a platform game. And should I take out the flare gun because I'm probably going to be attacked by something on the way back? Oh, hello. Okay. The flare gun did not defeat the enemies. Let's try that again. Chainsaw Man? Where are you, Chainsaw Man? Ah, there's Chainsaw Man. And his helpers. And where do your helpers go? Weren't there more guys? I just shot one guy. There they go. Now, would she really need to write safe haven on it? Because she should know what the safe haven is. I mean, she lives there. Also, this is an era before LED,
Follow me. Come, the pipe's empty now. We're ready to go.
before LED bulbs had been, maybe if not invented, but if definitely put in use.
Barbara, I had such a crush on him. Such a beautiful man. I was jealous. There was a part of me that was maybe a little glad when she had the accident. And then Tom started writing and woke the darkness up. He tried to bring her back, but you can't do that. There are no free rides like that.
I'm starting
Why
to
not?
realize that.
In that case, young man, perhaps you're a smarter man than Tom was. The witch looked like her, but it wasn't. Barbara was sweet. He didn't understand until it was too late. He tried to undo it, wrote himself, her, everything he'd ever written out of the world.
Which is why there's no record of Thomas Zane.
And afterward, no one knew. Oh, Tom. He left only one thing behind in my care, in case it happened again. Insurance. He trusted me.
I curse you, Thomas Zane.
A little. Tom knew how I felt. Knew I wouldn't refuse him. I built the well-lit room and put it there. It's been waiting for you. We are characters trapped in a story you have written, and none of us will survive to see the end of it if the darkness isn't stopped. She'll twist the story to her own dark ends.
How do you know all this?
Tom, that's the way he wrote it. He still talks to me, you know, in television, from beyond, from below. We have both been touched by the darkness, young man. He saved us both with light, but the darkness...
Am I really going to have to...
leaves a stain.
Oh, jeez. Can't I just take over for the wheel turning?
This pipe will take us directly to the well-lit room.
Okay, I need to call my friends, tell them where we're going.
No service?
Barry, we're headed to the dam in one of the pipes. Meet us there.
Okay, I'll tell Sarah.
It's Sarah now?
Whoa! No! For the sweet love of...
Barry! Barry! We gotta go see if they're okay.
They're probably dead. You must reach the well-lit room. This is no time to be a selfish idiot.
That's my best friend.
So is he checking? Or is he...
Well, be a fool. I'll use the pipe. I'll meet you at the dam if you make it.
Okay, he's checking. I was wondering why the game was giving me weapons, because if this game ended with the well-lit... If this episode ended with the well-lit
I
room...
didn't have to worry about her. She knew how to stay safe.
then you'd probably lose all of your weapons anyway. Oh. The well-lit room is in that direction.
Sarah was almost starting to relax. Maybe they could turn this into a win yet. Suddenly, there was a piercing sound, like a table saw gone wild, as 100 birds made out of shadows swarmed into the rotor. The chopper bucked wildly and the board lit up, telling her what she already knew. They were going down. Barry Wheeler screamed next to her.
Because I would imagine at the end of the episode I'll lose all of my items again. Ah, hello. Alright, that's one flock of birds done for. Oh, and then there's a checkpoint anyway, so... Even if I got hit by birds... that would heal me and defeat the birds. And up and right. But yeah, the fact that every time an enemy appears, the camera changes to dramatically show off the new bad guy. Can I go down this way? I can, but I can only walk. He's not brave enough to run. So it always disorients the camera, and then there are the moments where the game's like, yeah, this time we're not even going to bother telling you there are bad guys.
The crash site looked bad, but as far as I could tell, the wreck was empty.
Which is good. Oh, hold on. Because if their dead bodies were in there, that would be bad.
Barry! Barry!
No, you don't. Oh! Over here! Over there!
Hang in there, I'm coming!
Alright. Yeah, finally I dodged something. Oh, I dodged that guy. Now I dodged somebody else? There is a lot of stuff going on here. Like, these guys just pack their pockets full of knives. There we go. Thank you, Sarah.
To make an entrance wake. We were ready to make like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I have a different ending in mind.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
You'll be all right.
How's that?
The flaming eye of Mordor.
Laugh it up, funny man. Didn't we have somewhere?
Yeah, you making nerdy references, you nerd. And actually, that means that the flashlight is more effective than the flaming eye of Mordor, because really, in the Lord of the Rings, the eye just kind of looks at things.
Try to take your head off with an axe. You know your helicopter crash landed in Night Springs. Lead the way, Al. Try not to get us killed.
Sarah, you're having problems there. Sarah, you're... Ah, thank goodness. I was worried for a second.
You see those lights? That's the elevator we need to take.
Okay.
You can't leave her for the night.
Oh, hello. Oh.
Oh crap, there's more than one of them.
Yeah, there's two of them, but where did they go? I'm trying, but I can't seem to keep one on screen long enough to look at them. There we go. Take that. Eat all the bullets. Alright. There we go. Thank you, Sarah. And maybe bury a little bit.
Wow, I think we're okay.
Hey, Al, I got a bad feeling.
Let's keep our eyes open.
Okay, so I feel as a writer, I should never use the phrase, "I've got a bad feeling about this." Like, I feel like it's just been overused over the years. Oh. A nice visual effect for finding out.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. A nice visual effect to tell you where the elevator is.
We have to hold them off.
Jeez, he was just here.
Flashbang. How's the elevator? See, you got a very nice visual indicator. Flashbang. And flare gun, why not? See, the knowledge that I'm going to lose my items anyway really should make it easier for me to use these items.
Let's go. Al, hit the button.
I'm hitting the button! Why couldn't you hit the button? Ah, and that's just a single light. Speaking of which, unfinished topic. She must spend a lot of time replacing incandescent bulbs.
Something to fix this.
Gee, could you be a little more vague?
Thomas Zane? Seriously? Paul Bunyan or Bigfoot?
Yeah, well, he was real.
Why are you shining the light in my eyes? Oh dear God, it's so bright.
Careful, okay?
I probably should have held on to one of those flashbangs.
Okay, Wake. There's a button over there that opens the door. I think something's broken. Hold the button down so we can get in.
Okay. That is one well-lit room. Considering all that you can see is... Nope, never mind.
Wait, we can get to the dam through here. What's happening out there?
You guys go ahead and find Weaver. She should be in the dam now. I'll have to make it alone through the top.
Okay, Wake. Good luck. Don't get yourself killed. Please be careful.
Okay.
Take care of Barry, Wake. You just look after yourself.
So, what way is forward? That way is forward.
You gotta be kidding me.
Luckily, there is geometry in the way. Otherwise, I would be screwed.
Down, boy.
But watch out, I'm in a hard hat area.
Thomas Zane knew he had to remove all that had made this horror possible, including himself. That was the only way to banish the dark presence he had unleashed and now looked at him through the eyes of his dead love. But he also knew that despite his best efforts, it might someday return. So even as he wrote himself and his work out of existence, he added a loophole as insurance, an exception to the rule. Anything of his stored in a shoebox would remain.
Why didn't he make it a bigger box? Like having I guess a shoebox is safer because it's smaller. It can be stored inside a well-lit room. But how about like a briefcase? Like, maybe like keep some of his books there. Yep. Why would it be easy? That would be madness. Hello. Ah. These birds are very, very rude. There we go. That dissipated that. Yeah, so far it's just said rule number 1. I'm kind of curious as to what rule number 2 and possibly rule number 3 are.
Fishing can be a hobby or a job.
I suppose this is true.
The searchlight could even the odds.
Oh, and the searchlight can also defeat the bad guys. Yep, hello. I got hit by just a regular guy. Who just hit me?
Enough. You will go no further. Stop now.
It is convenient that you were nice enough to give me passage. Otherwise, I would have been stuck here. That's the problem with villains, always helping out the heroes without knowing that they're helping them out. I wonder if I'm going to have to fight any bad guys on my... Oh, hello. No, damn it. If you're unsure where to go, just run to the light. Alas, now the game is pretending to be a platformer all of a sudden. little bit of one. Yep, hello. I guess I'm going in here. No. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what I was supposed to do there. Although that's... Yep, hello. Can sometimes be a problem with... fighting bad guys in the middle of the night. Okay. It was slightly unclear which direction I was facing versus where the checkpoint was. Now there are pathways off to the side. Okay, so when the path forward isn't easily recognizable... There we go. Just take my time rather than rushing forward. Oh, hello. That's probably one of the more interesting aspects of the game, is when just random destruction just falls all over you.
You made it. Well done. I'm glad I was wrong. It was a foolish chance to take. Don't worry about the noise. We're safe here.
You should have just let your friends die.
Many years now. There is no shadow in the well-lit room. The power is fail-safe, and all the bulbs are numbered and changed regularly based on their make and model.
Right.
See, now, if this game took place in like modern day, I guess today versus then, she would have LED bulbs. She'd be using a lot less power, but she probably creates a lot of burned out bulbs. And I wonder exactly how, like, what does she work for a living? How does she acquire all of the bulbs that is needed to power, to light up the place? Like, that's probably a big part of her paycheck, is just keeping everything lit.
Take it, and I won't need to worry about the room anymore, because 6 and 33 and 118 need changing soon, and I don't want to climb up the ladder to change them because it's very late and I'm tired. And if you take it, I won't have to do that anymore.
I wonder. I can clearly see shadows.
A memory from my childhood. But I didn't write this. It was a page written by Thomas Zane. None of them were supposed to exist anymore.
Alan, 7 years old, would fight sleep to the bitter end. When he did sleep, he soon woke up, screaming, the nightmares fresh in his mind. One evening, his mother, sitting by his bed, offered him an old light switch. She called it the clicker, and flicking the switch would turn on a magical light that would drive the beast away. To imbue the talisman with all possible power, she added that it had been given to her by Alan's father. Alan never knew him, and anything of his took on mythical proportions in his mind. With the clicker firmly in his hand, Alan finally slept like a baby. Now, almost 30 years later, Alan thought of this as he stood on the rim of Cauldron Lake, the clicker in his hand. He took a deep breath and jumped.
My mind swirled. I'd given the clicker to Alice, yet it was here. Zane had written it into existence in a story I had written.
Well, Zane was the original
I
writer.
can finish this.
Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, recommendations for something to play next? Comment down below or send it on over to itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. That's itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. So long for now.